I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay.
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
The courtroom floor felt slick with tension. Everyone was watching Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul everyone knew for his effortless cool. He sat there, surrounded by expensive lawyers, projecting an image of calm. But then, something shifted. A name echoed through the room. A name nobody expected to hear in this context. Justin Bieber. And in that exact moment, the carefully constructed facade began to crack. His fists clenched. His jaw tightened. What happened next wasn't just a loss of composure. It was a complete public unraveling that shocked everyone present, even the judge. You're about to see the precise moments everything fell apart during a trial that's shaking Hollywood to its core.
The you of then was on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters and
I feel violated right now. Wow.
Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. Look at what a beautiful...
Bieber turned 15, and it suddenly seemed that Hollywood was keen to almost initiate him. I think that's the right word. Like there was almost like this initiation that he needed to go through. So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie The Times of Their Lives? Like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full.
Young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun. Now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did. The allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher. As we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs the question, who allowed Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what he was up to?
Day 2 of the proceedings had started with an almost eerie quiet. Diddy walked in looking confident, though if you looked closely, his eyes seemed to dart around the room, scanning faces as if expecting someone to jump out. Security felt different that morning too. Extra guards were positioned closer to his table, a setup unusual for even a high-profile case like this. It was like they had a heads up that something might go down. Then Cassie walked in, drawing every eye. She was simple, composed, surrounded by friends who walked with her like a protective shield, a stark contrast to Diddy's paid security detail. But the most telling detail in those quiet moments? Diddy couldn't stop checking his phone. He kept pulling it out, scrolling, his face growing darker with each glance. At one point, his own lawyer reached over and physically took the device from him. That's when observers noticed Diddy's hand wasn't steady, it was trembling. Meanwhile, the prosecution acted with a quiet urgency, whispering, passing notes, sharing something on a tablet, silent, nodding like they'd found the final piece to a complex puzzle. Diddy's main lawyer repeatedly tried to calm him, leaning in, putting a hand on his shoulder, but Diddy just shrugged him off, once so forcefully the lawyer nearly lost his balance. Even the judge looked different that day, less relaxed, more like a principal bracing for trouble. Her eyes went straight to Diddy, a whispered word to her clerk, and suddenly her clerk was on his phone. What nobody fully grasped yet was that Diddy had seen something online just moments before court began, something that would make him completely lose control right in front of the world. His team tried to hide his phone, but the damage was already done. He'd seen Justin Bieber's post.
Yeah, so, yeah. I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I mean, just think about how young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, you know? And like,
It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
exactly. I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life.
Meantime, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, a case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of rape. This guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Busby, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity at a home after the Video Music Awards in 2000.
While eyes were glued to the courtroom drama, a digital bombshell exploded online. Justin Bieber, of all people, dropped a social media post right in the middle of the trial that sent shockwaves not just through the internet, but directly into that courtroom. He posted a statement publicly supporting Cassie. This wasn't just any celebrity sending well wishes. This hit different because Bieber and Diddy go way back. Remember those old videos of a teenage Bieber hanging out at Diddy's house at his parties? Diddy used to openly call himself Justin's mentor, his big brother, even bragging about shaping Bieber's early career. That history made Bieber's public stance feel like the ultimate act of betrayal. This wasn't a vague message either. Bieber got specific. He wrote about being at industry events where he personally witnessed Diddy's alleged behavior toward Cassie. He mentioned seeing Diddy grab Cassie's arm too roughly at an after party in 2015. He described Diddy cutting Cassie off mid-sentence, speaking for her during interviews. These weren't rumors. These were presented as first-hand observations from a major star with immense credibility. The post spread like wildfire during the first court recess. People in the hallways huddled, showing each other their phones. Legal teams were scrambling, printing screenshots. Jurors, sensing the commotion, looked visibly confused. The post even included a powerful old photo of Bieber and Cassie together years ago, a silent statement speaking volumes. Bieber's caption included words about respecting Cassie's strength and being, quote, "Sorry I didn't speak up sooner." For Diddy, with hundreds of millions of followers seeing this immediately, the timing couldn't have been worse. News headlines were already writing themselves. This wasn't just gossip. This was a massive cultural figure taking a definitive public side during live legal proceedings.
Years old, and I should mention he was signed by Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor. The Bieber, Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to his original mentor. So this is a very big story, and the reason why we should discuss this and we should not diminish what is happening, it's not celebrity drama. This is actually the fall of Babylon that we are witnessing, Hollywood Babylon, that is. He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music, and he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish, and he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry, and sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, you know, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I'm never gonna force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, you know, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything. Protect Billie Eilish from what? From who?
Their history is crucial to understanding why this post was so impactful. Back when Justin Bieber was just a kid, around 13, signed by Usher to a label partly owned by Usher and Scooter Braun, he was Usher's protege. But somehow, Diddy also became deeply involved. There's a widely circulated old video clip where Diddy talks about having Bieber for 48 hours, saying, quote, "I have been given custody of him," and bragging about going, quote, "full young." He even compared it to having legal guardianship over Usher years prior, saying he didn't have legal guardianship of Bieber, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. This disturbing interaction, viewed now in light of the many serious allegations that have surfaced against Diddy regarding his behavior in parties, paints that mentorship in an incredibly dark light. The allegations against Diddy include claims of him initiating Usher into disturbing situations. As the lawsuits and accounts have come out, a picture has emerged of alleged open secrets about Diddy's behavior in the industry. So the question has been begged: who allowed a young, impressionable teenager like Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what was allegedly happening? This wasn't just a casual friendship. There was a power dynamic, a history that adds significant weight to Bieber's recent statement.
Weeks after the initial filing, Busby submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. And I've talked to lawyers about this before. There's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence yourself, right? You don't have to always go over to the other office. You can view the materials on your own. It's a way to better prepare for your defense. And Sean Combs' lawyers argue that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, electronic data that is in the government's possession, Judge Subramanian denied the defense's motion to amend the protective order, but without prejudice, meaning this issue could be revisited. So Subramanian's order reads, quote, "While the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for a defendant to consider that would permit the defense to view the videos, access the information they're looking for, and even allow them to manipulate the videos."
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Do you realize how important your story is? Every time I have a conversation with someone who's been through this unique type of experience, I'm searching for some kind of truth that can help.
I commend you for going there and asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to go there because it's revealing and it's...
Years before the courtroom drama, Justin Bieber had already offered glimpses into the dark side of the industry and perhaps his own past experiences. In a candid 2020 interview speaking about protecting young artists like Billie Eilish who were just starting out, Bieber became visibly emotional. He spoke about how hard it was for him being so young in the industry, not knowing where to turn, everyone telling you they loved you, then turning their backs in a second. He said he wanted young artists to know they could count on him if they ever needed him, emphasizing the need to protect those moments. He spoke about not wanting anyone to go through what he went through, how impressionable he was with everyone telling him how awesome he was, like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets and just saying, "I'll be back in 2 days." He wanted people to understand the psychology behind why he potentially had problems in his life. Watching that clip now, knowing his history with Diddy and his public support for Cassie, his words feel like a powerful, almost coded warning rooted in personal experience. He was saying so much without naming names, hinting at the dangers he knew firsthand. When he saw Cassie's situation and the allegations surfaced, it seemed that history compelled him to finally break the unspoken rule and speak up directly. Against this backdrop of Diddy's rising tension and Bieber's public declaration, Cassie took the stand. Her demeanor was striking, shoulders back, head held high, looking directly at the jury, not avoiding Diddy's gaze, but acting as if he wasn't even worth focusing on. Her testimony began to lay out a pattern of alleged control that resonated deeply with the public and seemed to directly echo the implicit warnings from Bieber's past and his recent post. She detailed text messages allegedly sent by Diddy from years prior, messages that made people in the courtroom gasp. One exchange from 2016 allegedly showed him sending 17 consecutive messages demanding to know why she hadn't answered her phone. Another allegedly demanded her exact location down to the room number. Quote, "I need to know where you are every minute," one message reportedly read, adding a chilling condition. "That's the deal if you want to keep your career." The room fell silent as Cassie described how Diddy allegedly controlled her interactions in the industry. He allegedly had a list of male artists she wasn't allowed to speak with unless he was present. And devastatingly, she testified that Justin Bieber was one of them. When she allegedly asked why, he told her not to question him. When she allegedly did anyway, she testified that he grabbed her arm in front of everyone at an after party and whispered that she'd regret it. Her voice remained steady as she spoke of feeling isolated, monitored, and controlled. The pattern she described, the monitoring, the public control tactics, the private threats, chillingly mirrored the type of environment Bieber's statement alluded to, making their stories feel interconnected and compounding the pressure on Diddy. But the most devastating blow to Diddy's defense, and the moment that would trigger his explosive reaction, came when prosecutors presented evidence that couldn't be easily dismissed. They showed text messages between Justin Bieber and Cassie, not from yesterday, but from 2017, years before any major lawsuits were filed. The courtroom screens lit up with the exchange. Cassie had written to Bieber, quote, "I don't know what to do anymore. He monitors everything." She continued, quote, "He said if I talk to anyone, he'll make sure I never work again." Bieber's response, displayed for the entire court and jury to see, read, and quote, "This isn't normal, Cass. What he's doing isn't okay. You need to talk to someone who can help." These messages were concrete proof that Cassie had been confiding in Bieber about the exact same alleged behavior patterns years in the past, directly contradicting any claim from Diddy's side that she had recently fabricated allegations for gain. This wasn't a rumor, it was time-stamped communication between two people from half a decade ago, validating Cassie's story in real time and implicating Diddy through his alleged actions and threats. That's when the carefully constructed facade finally crumbled. The moment those texts appeared on screen, Diddy shot up from his chair, the sound echoing through the silent room. His face instantly turned bright red, his eyes bulging, the composed mogul utterly gone. His attorney grabbed his arm, pleading, "Sean, don't do this." But Diddy wasn't listening. He violently shoved his lawyer's hand away, sending the man stumbling back. "This is all lies," Diddy shouted, pointing furiously at Cassie. "You know DMN well that's not what happened. Where's your loyalty after everything I did for you?" His voice escalated. "You're making this all up, both of you." The judge immediately slammed her gavel, ordering him to sit down or be removed, her voice cutting through the chaos. But Diddy kept going. Two security officers moved swiftly toward the defense table. Diddy turned toward the evidence screen, still shouting, "Those are fake. They fabricated those messages." Gesturing wildly, his voice echoing off the walls. "This is a setup. Justin never said that." The evidence was indeed devastating, showing Cassie confiding in the same issues years prior. The judge slammed her gavel again, ordering the jury removed immediately. As they filed out, most couldn't help but stare at Diddy, who was still on his feet, shouting. Security officers stepped up, one on each side, placing hands on his shoulders, firmly telling him to calm down. For a brief, terrifying second, it looked like he might resist them too. But then finally he fell silent, breathing heavily, the raw reality of his public meltdown seeming to wash over him. The damage, however, was done. With the jury out, the judge didn't hold back. Standing from the bench, she pointed directly at Diddy, her voice sharp. "Mr. Combs, this is a court of law, not a recording studio. You do not control what happens here." She warned him that one more outburst would result in him being held in contempt and spending the rest of the trial in a cell. She wasn't finished. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation for Diddy before the next day's proceedings and immediately imposed new strict security protocols. 2 officers would remain within arm's reach at all times. His lawyers couldn't speak to him without an officer present, and his phone privileges were completely revoked. Diddy's legal team huddled together, looking defeated, frantically calling, heads shaking. Their faces screamed that their case had just taken a massive, perhaps fatal hit. When the jury returned, their reactions were telling. Chairs were subtly shifted away from the defense table. Arms were crossed. A juror who had smiled at Diddy just yesterday wouldn't even look in his direction now. The prosecution team, meanwhile, maintained poker faces, but quiet satisfaction was evident. Security remained hyper-vigilant, 2 officers standing directly behind Diddy's chair, no longer even pretending to be casual. Legal experts in the gallery whispered, "He just lost right there." Diddy had walked in that morning projecting power, but he shuffled out with his tie loosened, surrounded by a panicked team, his eyes on the floor, avoiding reporters. His lawyer put a hand on his back to guide him, and Diddy shrugged it off, just like he had earlier, but this time it wasn't confidence. It was the physical rejection of defeat. What everyone witnessed in that courtroom wasn't just legal proceedings, it was a raw display of character under unimaginable pressure. Cassie remained poised and strong, her composure unwavering as she detailed alleged abuse. Diddy, faced with the validation of her story by someone from his inner circle and concrete evidence from years past, completely fell apart. The jury saw the contrast clearly, her steady voice against his uncontrolled shouting, her quiet strength against his public threats. That meltdown, triggered by Justin Bieber taking Cassie's side and the reveal of their long-ago texts, likely sealed Diddy's fate in the court of public opinion and potentially with the jury. The biggest question now is, with Justin Bieber having broken the unspoken code of silence among celebrities, who else might feel empowered to come forward and speak out against the powerful figures they once feared? This trial moment wasn't just about the evidence, it was about the moment a facade shattered and the world got a glimpse of something hidden beneath.